know what we're doing. Same thing. So, all these songs were Bible studies at one time. So actually, the name Thrive is the name of our ministry to students and their families at our church. And it all comes from a trip we took about 8 years ago. We went down into the South and did some mission work in some churches in some areas. And we took a day break in Geneva, Alabama. Has anybody ever been to Alabama before? Jesus is down there, I promise, he's down there. You guys thought I was from up here with y'all when you heard me talk, right? But we were down there on a break for the day. We stopped at this park in Geneva, and there's a tree there called the Constitution Tree. And this park is called the Junction. Two rivers are coming together, and this tree is there, and the tree is 300 years old. You don't see those every day, right? I want to show you the tree real quick. It's a little bitty one in the middle. Yeah. That is a tree. Uno tree, one, right? The thing is massive. And it took like 6 or 8 guys to reach around it, and the students were climbing up in the limbs, and the limbs were bigger than the trees I'd ever grown up around. And so my students are all up in the tree, and I'm looking through release forms thinking, I am so fired, right? So the youth workers are going, I got $5, this one's going down first, but not really. But it was $10. But you know, we were there hanging out, and there was a driver that was just volunteering with one of the churches. He was a farmer in the area, and he'd just been talking the whole time we've been hanging out. And I'm taking pictures, some of these that you see, and that big picture that you saw at first, I was walking way far away so I could try to get the whole thing in one shot. And the farmer is started just talking, and he says, you know, Mark, Geneva is a flood town. So 10 years ago, the whole city was underwater. Second floor, most of the buildings. He's pointing to some of the mud lines and the trees. He said, man, they picked a bicycle out of the top of that tree over there. You know, he's pointing to the levee and just telling stories. And he points to this tree, 300 years older than our country. He says, that tree's not going anywhere. He said, it's not because it's so strong above the surface. He said, man, if you were to wipe all the dirt out from under, he did something with his hands. He said, if you were to wipe all the dirt out from under, you'd see something like this. You see just as much going on under the surface as you do above it, right? And man, I'm sitting there thinking, object lesson, you know. Because we had been talking about Psalm 1 for a while with our students, about being like a tree planted by streams of water. Because there's 2 ways you can approach Jesus without him and blow it, right? The first way is just to be all roots. Some people are all roots, man. They want to know all the spiritual stuff. They want to read all the books and figure out all the beliefs and get all the worldviews, and they're just always discussing some deep spiritual topic, but they're so deep, there's not a whole lot of love to them, so people kind of just trip over them. But being just law, there's no way to God through just law, right? But some people, some believers, people try to approach God with just being awesome. So they're all reach. And you'll meet people that are always doing and going and rescuing and feeding and clothing and just doing all this great stuff so much that they really don't have any roots of their own in their faith. Their strength is by what the good things that they're doing, we track it. The problem with that is when you don't have any roots, man, life can knock you over pretty quick. So what God is saying is you can't know enough to be godly on your own. And you can't do enough to earn my love. But if you let me bring you life, if you let me start you, faith, and then we dig our roots into the Word to know God. And now after we know Him, we're not out trying to be good so He'll love us. Now we're just being good because He loved us before we knew what good was. Right?